ॐ नीरारविन्दाय विद्महे अतिमानसाय धीमहि तन्नो ज्योतिः प्रचोदयात्। वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। Hari Om. Yes. Can someone recollect what is it that we saw last? As usual, we form the link and then we move ahead. Yes, please. Anybody?
So you taught us about Brahman.
About the Brahman, the introduction was there, isn't it, Ji, by Sri Aurobindo in the first part of his Vedanta?
Yes, sir.
Ji,
Uh,
ma'am. You
like,
can address me by my first name. It is Sushrut Ji. Please go on. Yeah.
yes, Sushrut, we heard about Brahman, like he's everywhere. I mean, for a layman, I think saying God is easier, but you
Yeah.
meant eternal and all that in everything.
Ji, Ji. He's so the fundamental principle of the constitution of every living being, isn't it? All right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Ji. So, anybody would like to add a little bit more to what Sujata Ji just shared about the Brahman that we saw? Yes, please, because we will then go ahead after we form the link.
Introduction of Brahman, then existence, like Brahman is everywhere, it exists, it is the truth, it connects us to everything, it is the divine, it is the one and only, and all in one, one in
Okay.
all.
So, in the biggest and the smallest, Mahadvodaram Vanudaram Va. Then, but in this world, is it there? Is that Brahman there in this world, Ji?
Yes,
Yes,
it is,
isn't it? Means a
yes,
divine constituent or the divine presence is there in this world, isn't it?
yes,
That is what Sri Aurobindo tried to imply.
it's a
Is it?
finite and infinite also.
Yeah, yeah. So he said, Jagadapi Brahma
The example.
Satyam na mithya. That is what he said. Jagadapi Brahma Satyam na mithya. If we were to just make a understanding of what is this Brahman in the Jagat, it is because there is Maya, there is illusion also, isn't it? So there is illusion in this world, but behind that wheel of illusion, there is that Brahman. Anandamayam Jagadidam Sarvam Parabrahmanam Avartitam Mayapi Parabrahma Prasantasya Santarupinam. It's like a finite covering which is preventing us from realizing.
What did you say, Jagadadim?
Huh?
What did you say?
Jagad api Brahma
Okay.
Satyam na mithya. Means in this world it is there. When we were in college, there was a very nice song which had some lyrics very similar to this. Where will you run when you are scared from yourself? Salvation is here. In the Bhagavad Gita, we have Krishna saying, Ihaiva, Ihaiva. So, in this world, that was a very interesting concept, meaning that many of these, everybody seeks a liberation from, people say liberation from this world. Moksha is going away from this world because the Satya is elsewhere. But no, this is an interesting concept that Satya is here also. In this Bhuloka also we can experience it. That is why the avatars also take birth. The manifestation takes place. So that was one more interesting concept of the Brahman. The first entry to the kingdom of Brahma Vidya is first acknowledging the principle of Brahman which is there in all living things, big, small, finite, and even the infinite, everywhere, from the ant to the blue whale, everywhere that constant of Brahman is there. So, after establishing this principle of Brahmic consciousness, Sri Aurobindo is now taking us further ahead. He gives something like a simile. And what does he give in the second moment? He gives a simile of the sun or the Surya. So, before we enter into it, many people say Indians have the habit of worshipping everything. So sun also they keep worshipping. But is there anything significant about the sun that we see? The worship of sun, is it something very recently started trend, or it's something which was there from the beginning?
It's not only us Indians who worship the sun, it's the giver of life and everything. There are other cultures who have always worshipped the sun, like in South America.
The Mayans, isn't it?
The Mayans, absolutely, yes. The Egyptians, all the
Yeah.
old cultures.
Yes, even in the Oriental, many gods are Surya, means the sun is there. Yes, absolutely. And even in the Vedic times, isn't it? We had a
Yes.
Surya. There were Dvadasha Surya. We had like different names for the same Surya. Each name had its own property. Om Mitra Ravi Surya Bhanu Khaga Pusha Hiranya Garbha Marichaditya Savitra Arka and Bhaskara. So many such names were there for that Surya. So the physical sun that we see is something divine, is what we understood. But the rationalist will not agree, isn't it? We will go to the rationalist a little bit later because we'll first look at the supra-rationalists that were our ancient seers. What is it that they saw? Because it was beautiful. For them, it was not that art and science were not different. Means they described the beauty of the Surya, but they could also identify the yojanas, they could identify so many other scientific concepts they could understand. They didn't have telescopes, but they could identify the different bodies. There were this, if you see now also, you'll be surprised to know about Navagraha Stotra is there. Each graha is being described. How did they describe this? Guru is something which is huge. How did they know Guru is huge? When they didn't have that, Guru is Jupiter. According to us, our scientists will tell, yes, this is the biggest. But how did they know? And they had properties to it. Shani was different. The movement was slow. Shanaihi charati iti shanish charan. That is what they would say. But again, how each one is connected to something or the other, and there was this beautiful symbolism. This is what Sri Aurobindo had described in his Secret of the Veda. In the Vedas, what were all the different symbolic aspects? In the Saura Sukta also, he beautifully, what is this hymns to the Surya? Is it just a this solar body is it just lifeless? Or there is some Chaitanya inside of it also? Or is it a symbolism of something else? Have you heard of any mantras for the sun, dedicated to the sun? Anyone?
Yes, Aditya Stotra.
Aditya Hridaya. Isn't it you are talking
Aditya
about?
Hridaya.
Yeah.
Yes, Aditya Hridaya Stotra. Why? Why is all of this? Why? Because yes, Sujata ji wants to say something. Yes,
No,
please.
every time while doing yoga, when we do Surya Namaskar, there's different. This one we keep praying. Om
Yeah,
Adityaya Namaha. With
yeah,
all
yeah.
Surya names.
The names of the Surya, isn't it? And when we understand it and consciously do it, our body also physically participates, isn't it? Now, somebody says it's very senseless to continuously call Surya by certain names. But the same person will say you need to go in the sunlight for when there is a deficiency of vitamins. Why? Because that is causing some changes inside of the body, physiological changes, physiological, psychological also. My friend went to UK and he felt so depressed not seeing the sun. Here he was complaining in Pondicherry, always sun is always there. It's so hot, hot, hotter and hottest. You have only three bad weathers here, is what he would say. But after going and missing the sun, he said, I'm not feeling good. He would say, I would go online and search for photos of the sun. Because this aspect of the Surya, if you look at in the Rig Veda, the Rishis identified Surya as a friend also. उद्यन्नाद्य मित्रमः आरोहन् उत्तरान्दिवं रुद्रोगम mama Surya harimanam cha nashaya, meaning the disease of my heart, oh Surya, rid it. What does a Surya do? It ripens, isn't it? Ripens what? That which is unripe. Fruit plants, I mean now mango season is coming. What do? Green mangoes, we keep it under this, keep it inside of a basket and let some sunlight fall because then it will start becoming ripe. because that ripening process is also symbolic of the ripening of individual's consciousness. And this beautiful connection, maybe some doctor should take a clinical trial about Rudrogam Mama Surya Harimanancha Nashya. How is this affecting the heart? How is it reading? Is it reading heart disease? Because there are so many methods. Not only worshipping the Surya, there is something called Trataka, where people do a full focused, meditation with their eyes wide open at the sun. You can't do it during the day. It the Bala Surya only when the Surya is red before it has, risen higher. So this aspect of the sun is very interesting. And
Some
it is,
flowers also bloom only when there's sunlight.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so this,
Without sunlight, it
now,
won't bloom.
yeah, ji, without?
Without sunlight, it won't bloom.
Yeah, absolutely. So this Surya, the concept of Surya is very, like I think Swetaji talked about Surya Namaskara, which is, it is a part and parcel of our own culture. We are conscious in the morning hours also when the sun rises, then we feel fresh and the day is beginning, starts everywhere, first rays of the sun. Well, that is being employed as an example. But before we enter into what Sri Aurobindo has said, let us look at the rationalist view about the Surya also, because we are not dismissing, because Sri Aurobindo says two negations, we don't want to be trapped. One person is trapped on one end, another is trapped on the other end. Like in the Upanishad, Isha Upanishad, it said one side is Vidya, another end is Avidya. Both are trapped there. So when are we going to come out of that trap of Maya? So we'll have to bring about a reconciliation. So why not look at a rationalist view? What is the rationalist view of our sun? The origin of the sun? Anybody? It originated from what? From nothing? According to
It's
the
a
rationalist?
gas, it's a ball of gas. That's what
Okay.
we
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. Yes. You can say high temperatures, hydrogen, this fusion takes place. But what did it appear out of nowhere? Like we see, in Nasadya Suktam, it talks about suddenly the existence came out of nothing. But the rationalist says no, it did not come out of nothing. The Surya that we see has come out of something
Is it
brighter
dust
than the Surya.
particles?
Yes, ji?
Dust particles?
It's actually a star which broke, isn't it? A big star burst. They called it a big bang suddenly. Don't use the word Brahmanad. That will annoy the rationalist. But use the word big bang, it is understandable. So, what does the rationalist tell us? That yes, there was this explosion of something which is beyond and brighter than the sun that we know. It was, they call it like a great star which was brighter, and that star burst and created the sun. And what happened to the other explosive particles? So it's what I think Sunita ji talked about, the stardust or the remaining portions. That became our galaxy, isn't it? So this sounds quite logical. But what about all of us? We are also are we a part of sun or are we part of that star which burst and we became a part of this? Yes, Smita ji is saying something? Yes,
Yeah,
please.
we are a part of the solar system, no? The whatever.
We are also part of that,
Yeah.
what we can say, debris of that great star. So once upon a time, we were part of that star and we were emanating light. Now, according to science, according to the rationalist, so according to the rationalist, we were part of one supreme source of light. We were emitters of light. Then that source burst. After we know when a light source, even a bulb gets fused, we don't see any light coming. But somehow after this bursting, also this sun kept to continue to be luminous. And this, what we call the solar system, started receiving the light. We are growing, plants are growing, receiving the light. Isn't it something very beautiful in symbolism also, if you look at it? Just see, we, the emitters, are now receiving. It also sounds very much like yoga also. Yoga means union. Why is union required? Because there is viyog or there is separation. So once upon a time, we lost that consciousness, we lost that smriti, and now because of that vismriti, we are lost. We have to come back, and that is why the Surya helps us. That is why, if anybody has heard of this Gayatri mantra, what is that Gayatri mantra about? Anyone? Anybody?
It's about the sun that's
Yeah.
guiding us and
Yes.
guiding us towards the light, giving us
Yo
the
Yona Prachodayata. They let that sun illumine my intellect, give me direction, give me understanding, give me wisdom. So that is again, when we connect, when we pray to the sun also, we are understanding the symbolism behind that sun. Means this sun also in elsewhere in the Vedas also it is told that these Om Sahasra Rashmi Shadha Vartamanaha Purusha Prajana Mudayate Surya. These so many rays of the sun, these golden rays are bringing a person higher into consciousness and taking us. So, meaning this sun was recognized by the ancient ones also, even by the modern ones, they understand the importance of the sun, and that sun is being used as a practical example for us to get closer to what the Brahman is. Sri Aurobindo is using this example. So, with this, I think we will let us just try to enter. And one more interesting thing, one moment, suddenly, yeah, this always happens. Yeah, so yes, so this, before we begin, there is one mantra, Om Tat Sat. That is where this part of the second moment, which has been, it is basically, these are just for our convenience, we have divided into four moments. It's just a continuation. Before Sri Aurobindo starts the description, he begins with Om Tat Sat. Has anybody heard of this somewhere? If yes, where? This word, this triple mantra, Om Tat Sat. Sudhakar, if you're talking, I can't hear you. You have to unmute. Yes, everybody, if you can just click on the unmute.
Bhagavad Gita
Okay,
in Gita.
Sunita ji has said in Bhagavad Gita. Do you recollect where in the Bhagavad Gita? Okay, Sunita ji has said Bhagavad Gita. Sujata ji, what were you saying?
I feel somewhere it's connected to that word Satchitanand, somewhere we are going to learn later.
Acha. Okay, so we're going to learn that Satchidananda. Satchidananda, Sat is again that Sat is the
Yeah, that's
truth.
maybe connected.
Okay,
I just made a
that
guess.
okay. Yeah, so Sri Aurobindo also identified Satchidananda as a trinity of truth, consciousness, and bliss. So, or elsewhere, Satyam, Rutam, Bruhat. These are trinities. These are again beautiful mantras worth meditating upon. So, that is one thing. All right. Yes, somebody else would like to add? Yes,
15th or
Ninaji?
16th chapter in Gita?
Oh, yes, in the 16th chapter of the Gita.
Yeah,
Perfectly
yeah.
said by Ninaji. Exactly. And who gives that mantra? Who tells that mantra, ji? It
I
is
think Bhagwan Krishna is saying,
Sri Krishna himself is
yeah,
sharing that
himself. Yeah,
mantra.
yes, yes,
Om Tat Sat.
yes.
This is the triple mantra. The triple mantra given. It's like the only mantra diksha given by Krishna in the Gita. He
Yeah,
talks about these three mantras. This is chanted by the knowers of the Vedas. That is why they begin with this Om Tat Sat. The Vedic says this Krishna himself, Sri Krishna says, the knowers of the Vedas. Sri Aurobindo was also the knower of the Veda. He wrote the secret of the Veda for the world. So again, he also has employed this Om Tat Sat. This is a beautiful mantra worth meditating. Sri Krishna has also described its meaning in that chapter as Ninaji has shared. We'll try to, if time permits, we'll look at that. Or if we wish to, we can try to look at it now also. Just give me one moment. It's like after talking about Shraddha, this triple formula is shared in the 17th chapter. Om Tat Sat iti nirdesho Brahmanas smrutah Brahmanastena Vedascha Yajnascha Vihitah Pura. Many eons ago, this triple formula was conceived. By the same sacrifice, the Vedic knowledge was received. The mantra Om Tat Sat, with Om, the primordial syllable, Tat, the eternal Brahman, Sat, the highest truth cognizable. So these three were like how we use in algebra x, y, z, isn't it? We use three variables, but these variables can mean so many things. If you understand the formula, then we are going to utilize it the best. That way, Om Tat Sat is a vehicle. Vehicle for what? Om is the pranava, the first sound, the sound of the creation, the sound of the beginning. Through Om, we can connect to that original, immaculate, beautiful consciousness. Tat. Tat is connecting us to the Brahman. With the Tat, we can try to focus on the Brahman. And what about Sat? Sat is that beautiful highest truth which is cognizable to human beings. Later on in the Gita, there's something in the previous part. There's a Vibhuti Darshana where Krishna says, like, what is the need for you to understand every single form of mind? There are so many forms you cannot understand. Just understand that which is brilliant, that which is beautiful. Recognize my presence there. So that Sat is also something which is very similar. It allows us to connect with the goodness, with the brilliance, with the wonder of the universe. That gives us the source of strength. So with this, let us begin. Om Tat Sat Yaccha Satchideva Tachinmayam Jagat Bhasate Chidatmani Satya Prakashaha Satyasya Bhagavataha यथा सूर्यस्य प्रतिबिम्ब एकः शान्ते जले बहवश्चले सत्यः सूर्यः सत्यः प्रतिबिम्बः सत्यप्रकाशः सतः सूर्यस्य न स स्वप्नः सतः प्रकाशस्तु सः यथा वा सूर्यस्य ज्योतिः सौरं जगत् स्वशक्त्या धावदिव पूरयत् प्रकाशते सत्यं ज्योतिः सत्यप्रकाशः सतः सूर्यस्य न सोलीका भातिः सतः सत्यप्रकाशस्तु सः यथा वा सूर्यस्य ज्वालामयं बिम्बं न स्वयं सूर्यः सूर्यस्य तु सूर्यत्वं प्रकाशयत्येतदन्नमयं रूपमन्नाश्रितो श्रिते ज्ञाने तद्रूपातीतस्तु सूर्यः सत्यः सूर्यः सत्यं रूपं बिम्बाकृति सत्यप्रकाशः सतः सूर्यस्य न स मायाचित्रं सतः सत्यप्रकाशस्तु सः Om Tat Sat. That truth is for sure. Whatever that truth is, that alone is consciousness pure. The world of consciousness, in the spirit's consciousness persists, which is the divine truth, the real light that exists. Like the image of the sun in silent waters singly reflects, and in turbulent waters, multiple reflections it projects. The sun, the image, and the light are all physically real. They are true, not a part of a dream, virtual and surreal. Just as the sun, though running by its own light, is powered, and by the same, the solar system is illumined and empowered, the light is real, and real is its luminance, emerging from the real sun, which isn't pseudo radiance. The brilliance that is real emanates from a sun that is real, it originates. The blazing structure of the sun is but a perception, not the sun itself, but that which is understood by the human cognition. It is but a physical form which by the senses is perceived of the sun, whose light from a yonder sun is received. The sun that is a blazing ball of fire too is the true one, and its light is the true light of the real sun. This isn't an illusion, but is the truth authentic and reliable, as the sun is real and this truth is undeniable. Likewise is the Brahman, the light of truth and divinity, not an illusion, Maya, or a creation of mental activity. We'll just look at this once more and then we'll try to look at the rationale that is being employed here. Sri Aurobindo begins with Om Tat Sat. That truth is for sure. Whatever that truth is, that alone is consciousness pure. The world of consciousness in the spirit's consciousness persists, which is the divine truth, the real light that exists, like the image of the sun in silent water singly reflects, and in turbulent waters, multiple reflection it projects. And please feel free to, point out if you want me to repeat something or you want to stop me. So here we're looking at first Om Tat Sat. Sat is that truth. And Sri Aurobindo says that truth is there, that is for sure. And whatever that truth is, that alone is that pure consciousness. And this world is also a world of consciousness, which is full of consciousness. That Chaitanya is there. And that is existing in the spirit's consciousness, which is the divine truth, the real light that exists. Like the image of the sun in silent water singly reflects, and in turbulent waters, multiple reflections it projects. If you must have seen the image of the sun, if the water is steady, how will it appear? Looks like only just calm and just one single reflection, isn't it? But suddenly you put your hand and disturb that water. What will happen? Anybody?
Multiple
Multiple
reflections.
suns or multiple reflections.
Yes.
Isn't it? So many we will see this reflection. Just like that, Sri Aurobindo is saying here, look at that example. The sun is real. The sun, the image and the light are all physically real. They are true, not a part of dream, not a part of a dream, virtual and surreal. Just as the sun, though running by its own light, is empowered, and by the same, the solar system is illumined and empowered. The light is real, and real is its luminance, emerging from the real sun, which isn't pseudo radiance. If you see, there's a reason why Sri Aurobindo is repeating this concept. Because, what happens many times in the spiritual path, spiritual truths, which are ideas, look very nice. And when you look at them in the practical, they look very, very bad. In the simplest way is, I think everybody has heard of the grapes are sour, isn't it? The story of the fox and the grapes. So they say, oh, this is an illusion. This is not true. This is not good. This world is not there. I'm going to get a. Many people, they believe I will do this particular sadhana, so I will get something elsewhere. Here it's not possible. It will not happen, but there it will. If you, I do not know, there was a very famous, will not take anybody's names, but a famous personality. He promised people something good in the afterlife, and he would do particular yajnas for the same and take large donations. I do not know what he was giving, whether he was showing blueprints of Swargalok 3 BHK with parking you are going to get. I don't know how is it possible, but this is the tendency of our human, life in human beings. Our psychology is like that. We tend to dismiss that divinity in this world. So that is why Sri Aurobindo is giving us that example. He says, see, the sun is true. The reflection also is of what? Of that sun, that same sun. It may be singular, then it is becoming multiple, but it is still a truth only. It's not a false radiance, meaning that light which is reflecting also is a true light, isn't it? It is that light of that sun. So that is what Sri Aurobindo is employing, and in that, if we can understand the what is the indication, it is about that only. Just like the Brahman, This is the Surya also. Look at the Surya and try to understand the concept of the Brahman. He's asking us to see the sun. Probably we have to see with a different set of eyes. Or as Krishna had given to Arjuna, Divya Drishti. So maybe we'll have to, or Jnana Chakshu is what it was called. Suddenly, some people literally try to interpret what he did operation in the middle of the battlefield. What was he, an ophthalmologist? How did he open those eyes? But that Jnana Chakshu is there inside everybody. That is what was there. That when that awakening happens, and all the great saints have talked about it. When that realization comes, the Buddha had said that we are a spark away from realization. We don't know it yet. But the moment we know, then there is a transformation. The most weak person suddenly will start feeling powerful. The one who is most trapped and feeling hopeless, this is samsara, in samsara's trap, I have no way, this life is only suffering. Suddenly that realization, no, I was never suffering. Like how we know the story of Atlas, isn't it? Atlas is carrying the globe. Who knows, maybe that is also an illusion. Somebody has to just go and whisper, Atlas, don't worry, Sheshnaga is already holding it. And he can go on a walk, isn't it? He can become free from that burden. That is something. So this divine, we have to realize this presence. That is why Sri Aurobindo is saying this. He says this, that this is the emerging from the real sun, which isn't pseudo radiance. The brilliance that is real emanates from a sun that is real, it originates. The blazing structure of the sun is but a perception, not the sun itself, but that which is understood by the human cognition. It is but a physical form which by the senses is perceived of the sun whose light from a yonder sun is received. This is a very interesting concept. If we wish to look at it, we can look at it a little bit in depth as well. You can only give your input. So Sri Aurobindo has told something interesting here. He says, see, this brilliance is real. It's originating from a real sun. The blazing, the fiery structure of the sun is just a perception. Perception got by what? By our indriyas, by our senses. What do we see? We see only what our eyes allow us to see, isn't it? Beyond that, we are not able to. Can we see ultraviolet? Can we see infrared? No, but that does not mean it does not exist. So even the Surya that we are understanding from our entire mind and everything, it is a perception received by our indriyas. That is the Surya. But Sri Aurobindo says a little bit more about that sun. He says it is but a physical form which by the senses is perceived of a sun whose light from a yonder sun is received. It's like this light, or is this sun that we are understanding, the sun that we are worshipping, the sun that we are seeing also is receiving a light from somewhere else, from a higher or a different source. That is something which we don't understand.
Can't hear.
Your video and audio is frozen.
Yeah, I think we have lost his connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you able to hear me? Yes, I do not know when the screen froze. There's a network trouble here in the village right now. But can someone tell me what was it that last heard? Yes, please. Anybody?
The light received is from some other yonder sun.
Yes. Meaning, just like now I'm running on another network, not the network that I knew. So like that, this Surya, the Surya that we are understanding is receiving light from elsewhere. Has anybody heard of Sri Aurobindo's Gayatri Mantra? Just as we just looked at the Gayatri Mantra, is it? There is a
Yes,
composition
I
by.
Yes,
have.
yes,
All
yes.
right. If you can share, if you can tell something about it,
I just
anybody?
know the
Om
mantra.
You know the mantra. Yes. Would you like to recite it or you would like to say it?
Somebody was just going to recite it, a lady.
Okay. All right. Is it Sitadi? If you are going to?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, please.
Om
All right.
Tat Om Tat Saviturvaram Rupam Jyoti Parasya Dhimahi Yanna Satyena Deepayet.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Om Tat Savitur Varam Rupam Jyoteh Parasya Dhimahi Yanna Satyena Deepayet. Means it is invoking the Savita Surya. That truth, that consciousness of that higher truth, which is empowering that sun, we are invoking that to give us the strength to our Chaitanya. This is an interesting concept, meaning that there is a flow, a continuum of that consciousness. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think Sri Aurobindo in his Gayatri did not add the initial Om.
Okay, the Om is, we all are, while reciting, we are using it.
Yes.
Generally, Om is like a pranava, starting and end, we had to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Tat Saviturvaram Rupam.
The Om is not written by him. We
Yeah, yeah.
presently actually added an Om in that.
Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. Om is again the pranava, isn't it? In most of the mantras,
Yeah.
in the beginning and the end, it is like a protection for the completion of the mantra in the beginning and end. So yes, tat savitur varam rupam jyoti parasya dhimahi yanna satyena deepayet. That Savita Surya, the Surya which is beyond. If you see, this is there in the Vedas also, and that is the Surya which is empowering the entire cosmos. So this is what Sri Aurobindo is asking us to look, see this, what you are seeing. This aspect of concealment of truth with something else which appears so much like truth is very common in the Vedas also. In all the Vedic texts, no? Means, we have all heard all that glitters is not gold.
Shall I speak another sutra?
Okay?
Om Tatsavitur Varennang Bhargadevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo na Prachodayat Om.
Yeah, that is the Gayatri mantra. One of the reasons we call this the Gayatri mantra is because it is in Gayatri Chanda, the rhythm, no? That is Gayatri.
And now what you were telling us, what is the name of the mantra? Gayatri mantra.
Yeah, Sri Aurobindo's Gayatri mantra. These are names. Sri Aurobindo did not give this name that you call it Sri Aurobindo's Gayatri mantra. It is a name that we are giving. But what we are like trying to look at it right now is the meaning behind it. That way we invoke also with a mantra which is, oh, we are invoking the Superman Gayatri mantra. Om Mirara Vindaya Vidmahe Atimanasaya Dhimai Tanno Jyoti Prachodayat. Meaning let that Superman inspire our intellect. Or let that supramental consciousness inspire our intellect. So this aspect of a light, which is beyond the light that we know. In the Bhagavad Gita also it is said, Jyotisham api tat jyotihi. The jyoti that is greater, that light which is illumining the light. That is who? There it is called a Purusha. That is the divine. That is the supreme. So this aspect is what is being introduced here by Sri Aurobindo through this example. And this is very important. It's just like how that English phrase goes, isn't it? All that glitters is not gold. In the Isha Upanishad also it is said that Hiranymayena patrena satyasyapihi tam mukham tattvam poshanam apavruno satya dharmaya drishtaye. Meaning it's golden. The sun is also golden, isn't it? Hiranyagarbha. It is like you see gold and you feel, this is truth. But no, the Upanishad says the truth is covered by a golden lid. You need to break that lid to experience and understand what is that higher truth. There, the God is only invoked. Pushan is invoked to break that and give the direction or give the light of Satya Dharma. So, anyway, let us just continue. So, Sri Aurobindo has introduced that this sun also is receiving its lights from the yonder sun. So, understand There is beyond our mental logic. Let us not confine ourselves to the mental logic. That is probably one of the reasons he has told. If we want to rise beyond the mind, let us recognize the limitation of the mind. Even the sun, which is so brilliant, we can't even look at it. Yet, that sun is still just the physical sun perceived by our senses, but that sun is receiving a light from a yonder sun. Let's continue. So, the sun, that is the blazing ball of fire, too, is the true one, and its light is the true light of the real sun. This isn't an illusion, but is a truth, authentic and reliable, as the sun is real and the truth is undeniable. Likewise is the Brahman, the light of truth and divinity, not an illusion, maya, or creation of mental activity. So this is very clearly, this is not just Maya, not dismissing everything as Maya. But I think I think in the last session also we looked a little bit at Maya. So can somebody tell me what is this Maya actually? When we don't understand, it's easiest to say Maya hai, it's easier to say that. Hide behind it. But what is this Maya? Yes? Anybody?
Is it ignorance?
Okay, tamaha is ignorance in Sanskrit word, literal word meaning. But
Inconscient.
tamas is
Inconscient.
okay, inconscient or actually if
Illusion.
it's okay, elusive is okay.
Illusion.
Huh? Sorry?
Illusion.
It's illusion. Yes, it's an illusion which keeps a person confused away from the truth.
Or engrossed in
Yeah.
the material world. The illusions
Yes.
you engrossed in the material world. Therefore,
But yeah,
therefore actually you can't reach the consciousness because it takes you
yeah.
further away from the truth.
Okay. So Asmita ji has said that it keeps you engrossed in the material world. But can Maya keep you engrossed in the spiritual world also?
Blind follower.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Zarojini ji has said blind follow. All right. But the question of material world, okay. So Maya is trapping us in the material world. But what about the spiritual world? Can we get lost there also because of Maya? Or Maya suddenly stops functioning because it's spiritual world, I'll do namaskars and not function there.
That is bigger. That's a bigger
That is a
challenge.
greater Maya, isn't it? Yeah. So it's like we say ahankar is there in that person. That person is having ahankar, so he is like this or he is like that. That is all right. Sometimes the ahankar which is there, which is very easily visible, that can be easily tackled. But there is something called sukshma ahankar, which a spiritualist person has it. That only a guru can take it out. Sometimes gurus also struggle to break that because it is so hidden and so subtle. But so Maya works everywhere. The great Narada also, who was always in the smaran of the divine, Narayana, Narayana, always. He also joked to Krishna and had told Krishna, I'll not get trapped in Maya. Within 5 minutes, he got an experience of Maya and it had really shaken him out. Whatever Sthita Prajna, whatever inner toys and everything, that was suddenly broken. And there Krishna was smiling and he realized "Okay, this is there." So there is this Maya. Maya is something which is preventing us from realizing. In the Gita, multiple places Krishna has talked about how it functions. Meena ji wanted to add something? Yes, please.
Yeah,
Yes, Meena.
I just wanted to say that we should have balance between Maya and spiritualism. Then it is possible to have both.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, no, but Maya is something which is going to, it's like in a desert, you are thirsty, you want water, and you are walking with your group. Suddenly, you see an oasis and you start running. The guide tells you, don't go there. There's no, I see that oasis. So, whatever little energy is there inside, that also is explained, and then the person goes and then realizes it was just a mirage. So then Maya is like that. And the danger of Maya is because you are in delusion, you do not know. When somebody who is trapped can escape only when the person realizes, no, that person is trapped. If the person does not realize it at all, like you see, my generation youngsters, you give them a say 2 BHK, unlimited internet, and food supply, they will say, I don't want anything in this world. I will, even you keep the door open, also the person will not go out because the person has not realized it. So this Maya is there, but the entire world is not dismissed by, cannot be dismissed as Maya. Maya is functional. There is something called Leela and there is something called Maya. Both are divine plays. Both are the divine games only. Maya is also an important game. Krishna says, Brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani maya in the Bhagavad Gita. Like instruments, like machines, people run after this under the influence of Maya and they're confused. They're confused. They're having this bhranti. They don't understand what's going on. No, I have to do this. I have to do that. I don't have time. People joke also about reading spiritual scriptures or saying reading the Gita. When the person is too young, he says, "Oh, I'm too young. I can't read. Now I've just finished my schooling. Now is not the time for me to read." Then the person says, "Okay, now I have grown up. I'm in college. No, now I have to. I'm not going to read Gita. I will read Gita. I don't want to go into reading right now." Then he goes later on, he goes starts working. I'm too busy, I have to set up my career. I don't have time. And the career is set. But now Grihastha ashram has started. I have to take care of my family, I don't have time. My children are growing, I have to do all the duties, I don't have time. Then after the work is over, the person retires. Says, now I've retired, I don't have what I didn't read before, so I don't have time now also. The entire just life goes on, goes away in a flash. And that is the Maya, where we don't understand the truth. That is what, when we are unaware, when we are disconnected from the divine. In the story of Narada, also, the point of getting freedom from Maya is when he has a strong smaran that Krishna, he calls out in pain. Because in his Maya, he started visualizing a sansara which was not existent. But in Maya, he imagined he had a wedded life, he had children, was a king, and so many things. And when everything was taken away, he had fallen down. He felt powerless. That time he gives out a big scream, and that time he sees Krishna smiling and saying, "What happened to my glass of water?" Because he thought he was going to get a glass of water and got trapped in the Maya because of his ahankar. So because of ahankar, a person gets trapped in Maya. But if that ahankar is gone and the smaran of the divine is there, you hold on to the feet of the divine, you can experience what the gopis experienced in Vrindavan. That is the Leela. That is the Leela of Ananda. Meaning Maya is confusion, but Leela is Ananda. So right now, Sri Aurobindo has just touched that this world should not be dismissed as only Maya. A lot of people get that delusion. Arjuna also got a delusion. He said, let me just end everything. There's no point in, I don't see any logic. I don't see any rational in fighting. I don't see any way ahead. So it's okay if I just got killed without doing anything. It will be better for everybody. It will be better for my family also, what he thought. When he's alive, they're not treating his family with respect. Would they treat his family afterwards? That was just a complete delusion. So this is what Maya is. Anyway, let us just continue. So we saw that Sri Aurobindo just introduced this concept of Maya, and he said this Brahman is also truth, just not an illusion or a creation of mental activity. Let's look at the next part. Tathedam Jagat Brahma. Okay, sorry, yeah, Tathedam Jagat Brahma Satya Prakasho Bhagavato Na Swapno Na Maya Chitram Nalika Bhatihi Satah Satya Prakashastu Tadna Swayam Bhagavan Tathapi Swayameva Saha Esha Paramayesha Yoga Mahatmyam Rahasyamayasya Yogeshwarasya Krishnasya Chit Shaktya Anandamayi Leela Parasya Tarkya Gatihi Sarvamidamarthatah Satyam Pararthatah Asatyamiti Manastushtyartham Vijnanarthamucchatam नहि किंचिदप्यसत्यम सत्ये ब्रह्मणि एवं सत्य प्रकाशते जगदानंद एव तत्. So the concept of Krishna's Leela is being introduced. A Rahasyamayasya Yogeshwarasya Krishnasya. This you yeah, somebody wants to add something?
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is 9:30, so we have around 10 minutes.
right. Yeah,
Time.
yeah. Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. So if you see this, Sri Aurobindo goes on. He says, this is not a false luminance, a mirage, or a trick of light, but is the experience of the real truths inside. Thus, the Son is not the divine one, but the divine himself is the Son. This world is the elusive web supreme, spun by the divine himself in the mortal realm. The divine karma of Sri Krishna, the mystic Lord of Yoga, all is his song of blissful consciousness, his Leela. All of this is true in the understanding, but actually is not in the working. For the reasoning mind satisfaction, it is true, and to it, other than this, all is untrue. But to the illumined mind, the integral truth is understood that the Brahman is real, and in him there is no falsehood. And all that exists in this worldly creation is but Leela, his worldly blissful manifestation. The light and bliss in existence is not but the experience of his presence. We'll just read this once more. So, Sri Aurobindo says it's not a false luminance, a mirage, or a trick of light, but is the experience of the real truths in sight. Thus, the Son is not the divine one, but the divine himself is the Son. This world is the elusive web supreme, spun by the divine himself in the mortal realm. So the Son is not the divine one, but the divine himself is the Son. What does this imply? Means this entire world is being controlled under the orderliness which is set in motion by the divine. Sri Aurobindo had beautifully written about in a poem also about how the divine has spent all its cunning. The same hand that set Jupiter spinning, spent all its cunning to fashion a curl, smallest of small curl, means in the coy smile of the bride, or elsewhere in the blossoming of the flowers. Everywhere that same brilliance is there, and Sri Aurobindo is talking about it. The sun, the physical sun is not just the divine, but the physical sun is the extension of a divine one. Sahasra Shirsha Purusha, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapad, something like that. The Supreme Purusha is extending as what we see as just the physical sun. And this divine one has set into motion a great plan, a great yojana, and everything is moving according to that. And this is called Sri Aurobindo calls it a Divya Karma of the Yogeshwara Krishna. This is a divine action. This is the karma of Sri Krishna himself. He has done this. All of his song of blissful consciousness is that divine flautist is playing the flute, and we are all, if we become conscious, we can hear that, and we can dance to that tune, which is continuously at play, because there is this divine who is working. And all of this true is all of this is very interesting, this part ending, but actually is not in the working. For the reasoning's mind satisfaction, it is true, and to it, other than this, all is untrue. I mean, the reasoning mind, the rational mind has a limitation which Sri Aurobindo is talking about here. It understands this is truth. If this is truth, that is false. Because it is always trapped in a binary. But sometimes everything is not in binaries, isn't it? It's a matter of perspective. I think I am wise. People think otherwise. That's another type of wise. But that is their perspective, isn't it? I cannot impose my perspective on somebody else. It can be different. It is something like, but a reasoning mind will say this only. This is Satya, this is then Asatya. If this is Satya, this cannot be. So that is why an integral understanding and integral approach is required, where you can see the divinity even in the material. That line, no, that Bheda, this is what Sri Aurobindo's yoga does. It is Purna Yoga. It is, that line of demarcation between a material life and a spiritual life is erased. All life is yoga. Yoga, karma, su kaushalam, perfection in work is spirituality. This entire system, Sri Aurobindo is talking about as integration only. And when that integrated mind is reached, or at least then you will be able to enter into this kingdom of Brahma Vidya. So here he says, to the illumined mind, the integral truth is understood that the Brahman is real and in him there is no falsehood. All exists in this worldly creation is but Leela, his worldly blissful manifestation. The light and bliss in existence is not but the experience of his presence. So here we are introduced to the concept of Leela. There's a great difference between Maya and Leela. Maya is when you are in ignorance, you suffer, you don't understand what is going on. Why is God? Why is this happening to me? Or we start singing ghazals. Oh, Zindagi ne zindagi par gum diye. What is all going on? All this is bad. That is where we are disconnected from the divine. We are not hearing that rhythm of what is the truth, the rhythm of Krishna. We are not hearing that flute. We are not hearing that understanding, which is there for everybody. Because Arjuna was also not understanding at all. When Krishna tried to give him higher knowledge, his rational mind was blocking it. Krishna has says so many places, he says, Dadami Buddhi Yogam, you don't have knowledge, don't worry, I will give you the wisdom. One of the necessary conditions for receiving wisdom is not having it, no? So you can be blissful if you don't have it. If you surrender, the divine will plant, the divine will raise the consciousness. But here Arjuna's mind was saying, no, okay, you thought this, you are giving me the secret of yoga? How? His question is how? How am I to believe you? How can I trust you, Krishna? You thought the Surya. Because the Krishna tells the same thing, that the same truth, I thought Surya, Vivaswan received it first from me. He said, hey, this is a little different. I've celebrated your birthday. It's in sunlight. Did you have a time machine? Did you go back? My logical mind cannot understand. That time Sri Krishna then tells him, Arjuna, you and I are not so different. This even Sri Aurobindo's Upanishad begins, na? Ekam eva dvitiyam, that bhed is to be broken. We don't have to make such divides. I am spiritual, so I am other person is not spiritual. Everybody has the Atman inside. Everybody is equally spiritual. Maybe they are conscious, another person is not conscious. But a human being is, it is said, no? The human being is actually a spiritual being living a human experience. So this aspect of recognizing oneness, Krishna tells Arjuna, the only difference between you and me is I know and you don't know. I have also taken many births. You have also taken many births to come to where you are. Thing is, I'm able to remember them. All of them, I'm able to understand it. You are not understanding. So here, Sri Aurobindo gives us a direction that we have to recognize what is the limitation of our rational mind. Then we can go to the higher minds. There is a higher mind. There is an illumined mind. There is an intuitive mind. There is an over mind, and then the highest super mind is also there. When is all this going to happen? Only when we recognize limitation of the rational mind. We'll have to keep that aside, and only way you can is by surrendering. Surrendering is not surrendering to an enemy, it is surrendering to the divine. It is a joy, it is a bliss, it is like dancing, like how the gopis would dance, and Krishna has, Sri Aurobindo has said, I keep interchanging their names, they are one to me, but Sri Aurobindo has said that this is the Leela of the Yogeshwara. And when we become conscious of the Leela, we experience what is Ananda. When we become unconscious, we experience what is Nirananda. So that is the next part of this Upanishad, Ananda and Nirananda, the duality. So with this, we will conclude today's session. If anybody has any queries, anything you wish to ask or share. Yes, please. If you wish to, any point you would like to summarize or you would like to add something, you are welcome. And then we will.
I'd
Yes, please.
appreciate if next time you speak a little bit about surrender, how does one surrender to the divine?
Ji. Okay. Fine. We will look at that in the before we start the Upanishad then, because in this specifically, Sri Aurobindo has written very nicely about what is a surrender, and actually, surrender is a lifelong process. Sri Aurobindo calls it a lifelong, slowly, because even in the Bhagavad Gita, we see Arjuna surrenders only when he is in a hopeless situation. Till then, he is giving Shastrartha and he is giving what we can say knowledge to Krishna. Smita ji wants to add something. Yes, please.
I want to ask is how is surrender different from resignation?
So surrender is surrendering to whom is important. No, if the enemy comes and I surrender to the enemy, that is resignation. But when I surrender to a guru, there's a difference between surrendering to an enemy and surrendering to a guru, isn't it? Enemy will destroy you. But when you surrender to a guru, the guru will transform. You surrender to the divine. Divine will act. With guru is what a catalyst. No, he's not going to take anything. He's going to transform the. This act of surrender itself brings about a change. Look at Arjuna in the Gita. First chapter, he knows everything. His mind is understood. He says he becomes Nostradamus also. He starts predicting what's going to happen. He's predicting earthquakes. He's predicting so many things. Varna Sankara, Kulakshaya. He talks about Mitra Droha, all Shastra. He talks about Naraka as if he's already has been regularly, frequently traveling and coming back, as if he has all knowledge, and he's giving that knowledge to whom? To his Sarathi, to his director, to his Krishna. He's giving this because he's full of his emotions and he's not able to see. And so surrender concept has not come to him. When Krishna very neutrally, even you see Krishna also, unless surrender is there, knowledge transfer cannot take place. So Krishna doesn't begin the Gita until the surrender begins by Arjuna. So only like an uncle or a friend or a guide, he just says, like elders say, no, don't do this. He says, Klaibhyam Asmaka Mahapartha. Oh Arjuna, this is not the way a hero behaves. Immediately he gets frustrated. How? Tell me how I can fight when my guru, my reverend people are standing against me. And then finally, when he realizes, there we see him acknowledging and surrendering. That's the most important part. It is like he's uttering the
Sir, I
magic
have one
words.
question.
Yes,
Sir, I
welcome
have
to
one
me.
question,
Can
sir.
we complete this and come to that, Jay?
Okay.
Yeah, all right. So if you see, he says, Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava prithami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yat shreya syana nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. He says, I am now afraid. I don't know. I am your student. You become the teacher. Show me the way, teacher, is what he says. And then Krishna starts. But there also, Krishna doesn't give Rajavidya immediately, and Arjuna surrender also. He keeps asking doubts and doubts and doubts, and finally only he starts asking the right questions. So surrender is just a lifelong process where it becomes more and more. The mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram has talked about every cell becoming conscious and participating in the surrender. What is surrender? Understand the surrender done by the mother to Sri Aurobindo. You can read about it. It is beautiful. How it is a complete surrender, and this surrender is different from surrender. It is not a resignation. This surrender is for becoming stronger. When you resign, you lose everything, isn't it? Here you become like they become the dasa of whom? Dasa of the divine. You're not becoming a dasa of somebody else. All the great ones who surrendered became heroes, no? Ram Das, Tulsi Das, Kabir Das, Tulsi Tulsi सब कहे तुलसी बन की घास हो गई कृपा प्रभु राम की बन गए तुलसी दास. Tulsi is just a forest grass growing on its own. But then grace, so for receiving grace, surrender is required. And for surrender, we should not have any thing holding back. So I think we just looked at it in short. Somebody had asked that question. We'll probably look at it tomorrow. The next day after tomorrow in short and then continue. Yes, Maji, you had asked a question. We will probably look at
Yes,
one question and then
yes.
conclude.
I have one question that this Arabinda's book is a Bhashya or a different soul book
The one we are referring, the one workshop is
regarding
going.
the Gita.
Essays on the Gita. Sri Aurobindo has written a beautiful
But is it a
Bhashya.
Bhashya? No Bhashya.
It is a Bhashya.
Bhashya.
It's a
Okay,
commentary
okay.
on English, and
Thank you.
it's a
Thank you.
Mahabhashya, we can call it, because it's a
Okay.
huge, beautiful commentary. Yes,
I have
all
a
right.
question. What is Bhashya?
Bhashya means commentary in Sanskrit. That's all. No
Oh,
difference.
understood. Thank you.
Ji, ji. Yes, ji. All right. Let us then conclude. If anybody can just give us a short summary, we will conclude with the Shanti Mantra. What we saw today. Anything, any point.
In this, the connection between the sun and the Brahman, mainly, we saw.
Ji.
Om Tat Sat, we saw. The biggest. The truth is, for sure, does not. The sun is pure. About the details about the sun, we saw in details. The depth we went up on sun, related to sun and all. How we can see different means in water, when this water is still and silent, we can see the sun as a one single sun. When the water is turbulent, we can see different suns. We can see so different images of summers. Also, we can see.
All are true. All are real, isn't it?
Everything is real. Whether it is and the physical sun is always as a extension of the divine.
Yeah.
And the Maya, Leela, also we saw today difference between.
Yes. The world is not to be dismissed as just a Maya completely. There is a Leela, the Leela of the divine. When you experience it, we experience what is Ananda. So ultimately, we are all born to receive Ananda. In the last part, Sri Aurobindo calls everybody Anandasya Putraha, children of bliss. Because then that is the destiny, no? To experience bliss at all times. Krishna also tells us, Santushtaha Sadatam Yogi, at all times. If we can be blissful, what a beautiful life experience it will be. Our home only will become Vrindavan if we can experience that. So probably that is what Sri Aurobindo is talking about. So right now he's given that duality as well, which has to be reconciled to experience Ananda. All righty, thank you, Sita Lakshmiji. We'll conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Yes, Hari. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyat dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tat Sat. Krishna Vande Jagadguru. Namaskaram. Punar Milama. We'll see day after tomorrow. Ji, namaste. Thank you.